We're a humanitarian nation, but the legacy of the Obama-Clinton interventions will be weakness, confusion, and disarray. A mess. We've made the Middle East more unstable and chaotic than ever before. We left Christians subject to intense persecution and even genocide. We have done nothing to help the Christians, nothing. And we should always be ashamed for that lack of action. Our actions in Iraq, Libya, and Syria have helped unleash ISIS. And we're in a war against radical Islam, but President Obama won't even name the enemy. And unless you name the enemy, you will never, ever solve the problem. We are going to protect Christianity, and if you look what's going on throughout the world, you look at Syria, where if you're Christian, they're chopping off heads. You look at the different places, and Christianity, it's under siege.
And you know, very sadly, if they're Christian, they don't come in. Okay? If they're Christian, they don't come in. And before this whole mess, if you were in Syria 2, 3, 4 years ago, one of the top experts told me this on borders and on the military. I mean, this is a real guy that really understands what's going on. He said, you know, Mr. Trump, first time I heard it, he said, if you're from Syria and if you're Muslim, it's very easy to come into the United States, one of the easier places. But if you're from Syria and if you're Christian, it's almost impossible to come into the United States. One of the hardest things to do. I never forgot it. That was 3 years ago, he told me, 3.5 years ago. I never forgot what he said. Because Christianity is under siege, folks. Whether you want to hear it or not, it's under siege. And we've got to reverse it. But if you were from Syria 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, you wanted to come into this country, if you were Christian, one of the hardest places on earth to come into the United States was a Syrian who happened to be Christian. Something wrong. And they're the ones that really needed the protection more than anybody else. It's all going to change. It's all going to change.